Boxers Trainers channel, and we are going to get right to it with some boxing. Look, man, this is a recap of this week's or past week boxing, man. And we had some good boxing, some horrible boxing, and a no show, right? And let me jump into the no show. You know what I mean? Because the participants in the no show event, right? One was Hitchens, and his opponent was to be Oscar Duarte, right? This was for the junior welterweight championship of the world, IBF. Right now, there was a lot of noise being made by Richardson Hitchens. Right, I mean, a lot of trash. I mean, trash talking to no end. Right, I say that to say that in certain instances, right, um, trash talking could turn into disrespect, right? And I want to quote Keyshawn Davis in a statement that he made in reference to Richardson Hitchens, right, in regards to his behavior in the trash talking scheme of things, right? At some point, I think Hitchison needs to take under consideration that there's a thin line between trash talking and disrespect. And I believe that Keyshawn Davis got it right when he advised Hitchison to pump his brakes when it comes to the things that he said about another fighter, right? Because they all came from the same type of backgrounds, right? They all came into the sport, right, trying to make some type of success out of what was perceived or could easily be perceived as bad circumstances, right? We're speaking about the majority of these kids came out of the ghetto, right? And boxing was a way out. And I think that those that recognize this and put their heart into boxing, those are the ones who are prevailing. You know what I mean? So I say that to say this to Richard Hitchison, man. Uh, either you do what is right by the sport, or don't do the sport, in my opinion, right? So I say that to say that your behavior, especially when it came to the no show with Oscar Duarte, right? It has people really trying to find an answer to the no show, right? I mean, it has been said that you got he got um, ill to the point where he was throwing up before the fight. Now, there is controversy in regards to possibilities of what could have transpired if in the event, because I don't know um, for sure that he was actually throwing up. One of the things that are being said is he had fight jitters. He was scared. You know what I mean? And that is a possibility. You know what I mean? So, I mean, a lot of things could easily lead me to believe that Richard Hitchens is a kind of like a fraidy cat when it comes to top tier boxers, man. You know what I mean? He made a lot of noise that shouldered on the possibility of being disrespect to Devin the Dream Haney, right? Now, there wasn't much said about that, right? And I made mention of it, right? But I kept it moving. I didn't bear down into it as I am today. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you make a lot of noise about what you're going to do to another boxer or another man, right? But you do, at the end of the day, you do nothing. You do absolutely nothing. And it leads intelligent people to believe that your heart really isn't in the boxing because here you are. I'm quite sure that was a huge payday for Richard Hitchison, right? Had he finished the obligation to the contract, he didn't do that, right? He got ill, and opted out of the fight. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Oscar Duarte got paid anyway because he signed the contract, and I'm quite sure the contract had really in it that said that if he didn't show, I still get paid. And this is not the first time this has happened to Oscar Duarte. He had occasion. I'm not going to mention the particular fight. He had occasion to get to bought. He was bought out of another fight, right? So that fighter can get to a fighter that he wanted to get to, right? So he was bought out of it. This is not the first occasion that that Arthur Duarte has missed out on championship caliber fights, right? But it wasn't like that on the last one. This one kind of says that Richard Henderson did not want that smoke from Arthur Duarte. And contrary to the fact that I believe that he was scared, right? I made mention last week that Oscar Duarte is the type of boxer that's bringing the heat, man. You know what I mean? And I'm quite sure that Richard Henderson knew that prior to getting ill or so-called getting ill. You know what I mean? That with me, that's on the table, right? There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to Richard Henderson, right? He just constantly appears to be a no-show when it comes to stepping onto the plate on that championship caliber of fighting. You know what I mean? He constantly finds a reason for why he don't take it to the next level. And I don't know, man. I just don't see a future in that. Right. Let's talk a little bit about my homeboy, Amari the Reaper Jones, out of Oakland, California. Amari is 25 years of age. He's a middleweight, right? And this was the first time that he actually got the opportunity. I'm quite sure he's with Oscar De La Hoya, right? It's his promoter. And this is the first time that he's really got the opportunity to showcase his skills, right? Now, mind you, Amari Jones came out of that Devin Haney camp, right? He was a part of the wrecking crew when it came to Devin Haney Promotions, right? He fought up under that banner right now. I don't know why that he was released or chose to go elsewhere, but I will say this. I wish that Amari Jones was still with DHP because he's a terrific boxer, right? And he's going somewhere. Right now, I think he's 16 and 0, 14 by knockout, 25 years of age. He got a lot of room ahead of him at that age to be able to be great if he can tighten up a few things with his skill set as far as I'm concerned, right? Now, his trainer might not see what I see, but then again, right, I keep telling you, my foresight when it comes to boxing, right, is abnormal. You know what I mean? I see stuff that I just don't believe is being overlooked. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know if I'm extending the trainer's outlook when I say that needs to be addressed, right? I don't know if these things are being worked on, but there's just things that I see that could bring about a better result in regards to the particular things that I say. I don't know, right? But I'm just saying, and look, some people have a blessing when it comes to certain things. My blessing is boxing, critiquing boxers, man. You know what I mean? And I kind of like a lot of things. You know, I was in the gym. Let me just make a reference point, right? I was in the gym in Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s gym in Las Vegas once, right? And Carmel Moulton was in the gym, right? And I was critiquing him. He didn't know. I mean, you don't go in the gym and start saying, "Man, look, you need to check." No, you just critique, right? You just critique, right? And I was critiquing Carmel Moulton, and it was like, damn, wow. He needs, you know what I'm saying? I mean, to the average eye, it's nothing. But when you talking about then a great boxer like Carmel Bolton is talking about then, right? How could you not? How could you miss that? You know, when you on that level of boxing, and you have demonstrated that you deserve to be um, up on the higher echelon of boxers, nothing is subjected to being missed, as far as I'm concerned, right? It just goes on and on and on with me. And sometimes I say, damn, man, cut it off. But I can't. It's just a blessing, a gift from the Creator that to justice to me that I got a gift. I got a gift, man. Just like these boxers have gifts, right? I can have a gift too. Pushing buttons. You know what I'm saying? Pushing buttons to make sure you understand why it is necessary that you critique that. Whatever it is, jab, a penning. I was thinking about something this morning that came to mind. I ain't gonna mention the person, but he has a awesome jab. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, but for me, it's awesome. But I could add something to it. You know what I'm saying? To make it like, damn, how did he do that? Right? That probing jab, right? When you probe, you actually you're holding off your opponent at the tip of his head, especially if you got a reach on it, right? You probe him, right, and he either knocks your probe away, or attempts to knock the probe away, right, or you simply push off the probe and spin off and get off. You know what I mean? I mean, you, first of all, can y'all understand what I'm saying? Look, I mean, it's just a weapon, another piece of a tool in the tool shed, right? That makes you pretty, makes you great. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's what I believe in. I constantly say that to you guys that there's no boxer on the planet that's going to be perfect. Not going to be perfect, right? He's going to be subjected to some type of punch, right? But the thing that is important with that analogy is it's not the punches you take, it's the credibility of the impact of the punches you take that makes it a good punch or a bad punch as far as the person that's throwing it and as far as the person that's defending it. You got it? You know what I mean? The impact of the punch. Because quite naturally you're gonna get socked. But it is the leverage on the punch that whether it's going to be effective or not effective, right? You have the ability, the defensive on the defensive side of the equation, to make it a good punch, or to take away the impact of the punch and make it lesser of a punch. Common sense analogy and good goddamn boxing. Excuse my friends. but moving on, man. But yeah, I think that Gary Anton Russ, no, excuse me, not Gary Anton, Richardson Hitchison needs to have a soul searching affair with himself. Because I don't know if Richardson Hitchens loved the sport of boxing the way he needs to in order to gain some momentum and success. Now, capping off Amari Jones. Amari Jones, I think that fight was his coming out fight, right? He featured on the card with Ryan Garcia, right? That was a big fight. That was a big card, right? There was a lot of people there, and specifically Turkey Al Sheik was there, and I noticed Turkey Al Sheik had his eye on Amari Jones. Good thing. A noteworthy, noteworthy note. You know what I'm saying? To Amari Jones, right? Keep doing what you're doing, brother. Antoine, uh, Gary Antoine Russell versus Andy Karaoke, right? Now I had said prior to that fight that don't be surprised if Karaoke, right, walked down Gary Antoine Russell, right? And I'm quite sure a lot of y'all say, man, that dude, Gary Armstrong Russell is a monster. He is. But Kira Aoki is a monster too. And he demonstrated that Saturday night. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they gave the decision to Gary Armstrong Russell, but you can tell that Gary Armstrong Russell was in a dog fight when that fight was over. And it was a dog fight. It was a damn good fight, right? Um, um, uh, Andy Kiraoki, right, defended the integrity of his boxing upside the head of Gary Russell, right? And for me, it was satisfying because I had made mention of this cat that nobody has been taking notice to. A lot of these young so-called uh, potential fighters, right? We don't have a clue. It's a gang of them out there, man, that can box. But I'm gonna do my due diligence and make sure these cats get recognition on the boxing training channel, man. Because that way, if people start recognizing these dudes, right, the promoters will be more inclined to give them some show, give them some time, right, get some fights for them, right. And that's what it's all about, man. It's about the best fighting the best. And the only way you're going to get that to happen is bringing the best to the forefront. And these platforms are the only way that that can be done, right? Now, okay, did we skip over? No, we didn't. Frank Martin versus Nair Albright. Good fight. Frank Martin said he was going to beat up on Albright, and that was it, and that was all, right? But it didn't go like that, right? Albright came to fight. You know what I'm saying? And he did a damn good job of representing his skills upside of Frank the Ghost Martin's head, right? To the point where that fight ended up being a draw. So shout out to Albright, man, for getting in there. That fight could easily be considered for a rematch because actually, I think it was the 10th round, he had Frank Martin in trouble, right? And this was a big fight for Albright. Lately, Albright has been getting some bad publicity, especially with Keyshawn Davis and the Keyshawn Davis family. Actually, it wasn't really the Keyshawn Davis family, it was Keyshawn Davis, right? Before that incident with Keyshawn Davis' brother and Albright, right? I have to know that Keyshawn Davis and Albright were in the ring together, right? And that was a darn good fight. That for me, that was Nair Albright's coming out party, right? He showed up on Keyshawn Davis. And normally the way Keyshawn Davis dogs his opponent, he didn't do that to Albright. The same thing with Frank Martin. Frank Martin thought he was going to go in and come in and dog Albright. That didn't happen neither. Again, in the 10th round, he hurt Frank Martin. So that fight was a draw. I want to get to this Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrio. I mean, the only thing I'm going to say about that fight, I'm just going to cut it sweet and short, right? Both of those cats, both of them, was horrible. I couldn't believe the way Barrio didn't use a jab, didn't do anything but defend the integrity of his head, right? He used the high guard, right? Didn't get punched as much, but he didn't do any punching at all. None. It was like this is the I think he was the WBC welterweight champion of the world. He went in there with Manny Pacquiao, and although that was a draw, he did put up make a diligent showing. But on this, he didn't do nothing, anything. And here's the thing about Ryan Garcia. Now, a lot of controversy is being made about him. If Ryan Garcia was on banned stuff or not in this fight, right? People are led to believe that he was doped up on this fight. Now see, for me, that's enough to suggest, especially if I'm on a high echelon of the boxing plateau, right? For me to believe that he's on some form of substance abuse, some form of steroids, I'm not going. No, I'm not fighting Ryan Garcia. I'm not fighting him. If it appears to me that he's on a banned substance, I'm not fighting him. Rematch, none of that, because he's a danger to whoever gets in the ring with him if and if he's on steroids. And you don't know, because that's the way Ryan Garcia get down, right? He don't give a darn about the steroids and the impact that the steroids has on him when it comes to the punches you throw and the potential damage, the damage he could create by hurting somebody. He don't give a damn. Ryan Garcia do not care if he gets in there on steroids and hurts somebody. Simple as that. He proved that in the Devin Haney fight. He proved that, man, that he'll take the only thing he was concerned about was getting busted. That the only thing that Ryan Garcia was concerned about was getting busted in the Devin Haney fight. Now, that's said a lot. He didn't give a darn about the potential outcome that him being on that banned substance could have had on Devin's life. Now, here's the thing. What person in his right mind, contrary to the money involved, contrary to his legacy, right, would put that in jeopardy by getting in the ring with Ryan Garcia, not knowing whether this food is on steroids or not? I ain't doing it, man. And I'm advising anybody who I know, just let that go. Especially the great ones. Yeah, he's a headliner. He's gonna bring up a huge crowd, a huge following. It's gonna be a big payday. But is it worth it? Is it worth it? That's what you guys have to ask yourself before you sign a contract to get in the ring with Ryan Garcia. Right? So, Claressa Shields, the best female boxer of this era, and potentially could be the best female boxer ever. I'm going to leave that decision up to y'all. But to me, other than the fact that she gassed out a little, not really, she didn't really gas out to the point where it was recognized, but it was recognized by me, right? And she made mention of it slightly, you know what I mean? Claressa, don't do that no more. You too good of a boxer. You too good of a representative of the people to go in the ring and gas out. My sister, love you dearly on that. You know what I'm saying? But she looked it good against Franchon DAZN. Damn, she looked it good, and DAZN came to fight. They went the distance, but Claressa Shields beat her up pretty bad, man. I mean, headshot, body shot, you name it, she went through it. That was an excellent fight for Claressa Shields. And I'm just saying, I love her to death, right? And I'm just praying that, no one takes advantage of her, right? And that she continues to do what she do. And one of the things is to help uplift female boxing. She's a good advocate for female boxing. She's a good person. She's a good person to be an advocate for boxing, and she's in a darn good place with her record to represent female boxing. That being said, hit that subscription button, hit the like button. Drop a comment down in the comment section and give me y'all's opinion on Richard Richardson. What do you think about Richard Richardson? Can I have a comment? That being said, I'll see you later.